I am here because my brother passed away from a fentanyl overdose in 2023. He was the life of the party. He always smiled. The smile could light up the whole room. Like, he was just happy. He was happy all of the time. Lots of friends. Everybody loved him. You would just meet him and just love him. Skateboarding was his thing. He loved skateboarding. He was a really good skateboarder. I don't think I ever saw my brother sad, or he didn't show me if he was. He just was happy all the time. When we were younger, we fought like cats and dogs, but who doesn't? As we got older, our relationship wasn't the best, and it wasn't because we didn't get along. It was because I had kids. I had my son at 17 and my baby not too long. Well, she's 4 now, but so we kind of just grew apart, but we still had that relationship. He would text me all the time. He would Snapchat me all the time, especially when I would post like pictures of my daughter and like little outfits. He'd be like, "She's not a doll, Nicole." So we had that relationship still, just not as close as when we were, 6 or 7. We were in the same school up until high school, and then I probably wasn't the best behaved kid, so I went to a separate school than him. But yeah, we were in the same school up until high school. He was a good student. I never heard my parents complain about him getting in trouble or getting bad grades, or he was a good student. After school, him and his friend, he had a friend named Cody, still to this day is like his best friend. And they would go skateboarding. They would go skateboard at the park right down the street. We had like a little skate park. And that's what they did. They did it for hours. I would remember my brother coming home like 9, 10 o'clock at night, and my dad would be like, where were you? Oh, he was skateboarding with his friend. That's what they did. He, at one point in time, I remember he had to have been in 6th, 7th. He got in trouble for skateboarding off of a roof of an abandoned house. Because that's what they did. They loved to skateboard, and any opportunity that he had, he would do it. And he got in trouble. The cops caught him, and my dad got a phone call that, "Hey, your son's here and he's skateboarding off of an abandoned house. Can you come get him?" So as he got older, I know that he continued skateboarding. Bowling. He loved bowling. They had like him and his friends had a bowling group. I think he just wanted to fit in. And although he was the life of the party, I think part of him felt like he didn't fit in with everybody because his friends were getting married or, went to school and had these wonderful jobs, and my brother was single, no kids. He worked at a hotel, which he loved, and he was great at it, but he just wasn't growing the way that his friends were growing. And so I think that he was trying to fit in, and he, saw his friends doing things that probably weren't the best, and he would do them. And after my brother's passing, I talked to one of his really good friends, one of his best friends, Cody, and he told me a lot of things that I never would have thought that my brother would have done. I never, the drugs that they were doing and the partying that they were doing, and I never thought that. I never thought that was my brother. He stayed up late playing games on his Xbox or PlayStation or whatever he had, and would work and go home, and he lived with my dad. So what do you mean he was out here doing these drugs? He never showed signs of doing drugs. There was never that, oh man, like he's spending all his money, or he's nodding out, or there was just, those signs weren't there. As he got older, he worked at a hotel, and him and my dad worked different shifts. So my dad was a day shifter, 3 o'clock in the morning till whatever time in the afternoon, where my brother's a night owl, so he did night shifts. Like I said, he would game all day, all night, and then when he had to go to work, he'd get up and go to work. And it was just a repeated cycle, and there was no signs. He would come out of his room, eat when my dad made dinner, talk to his friends, text his friends. I know he would go out with his friends. I'd see it on Snapchat, so I knew he was out, but he wasn't. We had no signs. And I come from, my mother was an addict. My grandmother was an addict. My grandma was an alcoholic. My mom did drugs growing up. My husband is a recovering addict. So I know the signs. I've seen the signs, and there was none there. So when my brother passed, I was shocked. I didn't understand. I still don't understand, because I've been with my husband, 6 years, and I've seen the signs with him. He's a recovering addict. I know what they are. I've seen him with my mother. I saw him with my grandmother. And with him, nothing. Nothing. He was scheduled to go to work. So I remember I got a phone call January 20th of 2023. I was at work. I got a phone call. It was like 4:15 maybe. I don't remember the time. My mom's freaking out. Your brother's gone. Your brother's gone. I said, what do you mean my brother's gone? What are you talking about? So I, messaged my boss real quick, and I said, I have to go. I got to go. Drove as fast as I could to my dad's house, and I get there, and, my dad's, I could just see his face. He's distraught. The cops are there. And I said, what happened? I don't understand. So my dad said that he was scheduled to go to work, my brother, and he must have not shown up. So his friend, one of his friends at the time, was his boss. And so he called my mom, because my mom was also working at the hotel, and said, hey, Michael hasn't shown up to work. Is everything okay? So my mom called my dad, and my dad's like, well, his car's here, but I figured he just was off today. I wasn't sure. So he goes upstairs. He goes to check on my brother, and he's gone. He had been gone since early in the morning, maybe 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And because my dad goes to work that early, nobody found him until 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He overdosed on cocaine, which was laced with fentanyl. The cops were there, and, they wouldn't let us see anything, right? And then the people get there that kind of take him away, the morgue. And so they took him, and so then we were able to go upstairs, and my husband and I were kind of going through and seeing what we could find, and they had cleaned up the mess so you couldn't see the cocaine or anything left on the counter. But my husband found signs. So there was foil in the room and some other things that indicated that he was using. And so, of course, we kind of got rid of it. We didn't want my dad to see it, right? Because he had already found my brother, and we didn't want him to go through that anymore. And it took 2.5 months to get it back. And I was literally calling them every day, emailing them. I even wrote a Google review, because I needed to know for myself. I know my dad needed to know. We needed to know. So once he passed, I had reached out to a few of his friends, hey, my brother's not here anymore, right? And his best friend, Cody, enlightened me on a lot of things. Coke was the thing they did when they partied. They partied, did coke, and that's what they did. And they assumed he stopped, but he didn't. And he was doing coke to stay awake. He would drink. He'd go buy I don't know what they call them, tall cans, 40 ounce, whatever, and drink and do cocaine, play games all night long. All night. And that's how he stayed awake. That's why he was able to function. That's how he was able to function. So when all his friends quit, he continued. My husband is a fentanyl recovering addict. So it was kind of it was just a shock to me. Not only to myself, but to when I was telling his best friend Cody about it, it was a surprise to him too. Because that wasn't anything that they had ever tried, per se. When they were out partying, it was just a Coke thing. Let's do Coke and stay awake. And, it gives you that awake effect, I guess. I think at this point, my dad just kind of has accepted it. I think it's at the point. I mean, he struggles a lot, a lot. Yeah. So I think he's just come to a point where he's just trying to heal at this point. Tried seeing somebody. I've tried talking to somebody. My work offers like great resources for that kind of stuff, but I did it. I did it for like the first year that my brother passed. And my excuse is going to be, then work got in the way. And that's what I'll tell everybody. I always tell everybody, but deep down, it's just, I don't think I've properly grieved for my brother. When he passed, I took on the role to do everything, right? So I did all the funeral arrangement and everything for my dad because he just couldn't. And his friend Cody set up a GoFundMe, and it made like $10,000, I want to say. Nothing that we never expected that. And I just don't think I've properly grieved. I'm so strong for everybody else. I'm trying to be strong for my dad. I'm trying to be strong for my mom, who I haven't always had a good relationship with. My brother's passing actually brought us closer together. And I haven't properly grieved. I have kids at home, and, my daughter, she's 4, and she's my Uncle Mike, she's always asking for her uncle. And so I have to stay strong for them. Like, I can't. She asks questions, and I can't tell her. What do I tell her? I can't tell her that your uncle died of an overdose. She's not going to understand that. She just knows he's in heaven. I just don't know what would happen to me if I fully grieve. Like, I don't know what mental space I'll be in. And I just can't. I can't let my kids see me like that. If you're using, seek help. Whether you're seeking help through a friend, a family member, a stranger, anybody, ask for help, because the effect that it has on the people who love you is strong, and you deserve to be here. You deserve to be in this world, no matter what your struggles are.